Alright, we're live. Hello. Peter, my glasses. Hey Mash, how's it going? How was India this morning? Or probably not morning for you. Today we're gonna be doing something. I think it was Four suggested it in one of our last streams, where we're gonna draw the pose here, and then we're gonna draw sort of the next poses from imagination. So almost like continuing the story. So you have something to work from, just to give you a starting point. So it helps you like imagine them moving, right? Versus just coming up with everything by yourself. Sometimes that can be helpful. It's a cool little exercise. Hi, Lady Rose. Glitchy Cat, hello. I love these lives. It holds me myself accountable to actually practicing my anatomy studies. Yeah, surprisingly, me too. uh, it holds me accountable. Like I definitely probably would have missed a day. Hey, Oksana, how's it going? Hey, four. This was your suggestion, right? To draw like the next draw from like a reference, but then draw the rest of the story, like continue the story, right? I can't remember if it was you. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna like draw the character. Yes, like keyframes, exactly. Or like storyboarding or something. You could also do like moment to moment and almost draw like an animation too. I'm sure that would be good practice. But yeah, we're gonna do that today. I'm gonna try to like continue the story. And for everybody, even if everybody did the same uh picture, you'd have so many different poses because people are going to choose a different story to recreate. Like, yeah, I thought it was a cool suggestion. It lets you practice drawing from imagination while also not feeling overwhelmed by giving you like a piece of reference. So it was a good idea for, and we might actually try it the more like keyframe animation kind of way another time as well. It could be kind of cool. But we'll probably save that for like cool action poses instead of, this woman who's just sitting down in a chair. Another that could be cool too. Like you want to practice you have to practice big movements, right? But also subtlety. So those big action poses are really cool and fun. But yeah, we also have to practice being subtle. Yeah, I think so too. Will especially help you come up with poses. I was trying to draw my sketchbook last night, and I realized that why my poses feel so, or one of the reasons why my poses, besides the fact that I'm still learning to draw, but one of the reasons my poses feel so stiff uh, is that I'm not playing with like the twist of things. And I started doing that a little bit in my sketchbook, really like drawing really tiny figures. If we were to draw her, just to figure this out fast in a sense. These tiny ones. That's where we're going. Draw the body first and not the chair. Yeah, when I'm doing figures, I tend to just I don't even draw the chair. If you do it right, your eyes will imagine the chair, you know? So, I'm trying to focus on the figure. I don't want to spend time drawing the prop if I don't have to, unless it's like part of the scene that I'm wanting to draw, but I'm trying to really focus in on getting the pose right and the anatomy. Yeah, chairs look too much like boxes. We don't like boxes now, do we? Yeah. No, it's okay to draw the boxes. Again, it's very simple. So if I need to, I'll draw in like a quick little plane, especially to see the perspective, right? Because it takes like literally half a second. What program do I use? The Art of Self-Destruction. This is Paint Tool Sai. Two of my favorite artists use this program to great effect, and I am trying to use it as well. And I enjoy it a lot. Um, for me, I'm definitely trying to figure out how to blend when it comes to painting right now, which was challenging in any program, to be honest. We made it this time. Hi, everyone. Hi, Eric. How's it going? This could be much more prominent. Draw high heel feet. Just go with that. I trained back in the thousands. Dude, I don't know how to download and install. A lot of respect for the one guy who developed it. Yeah, I do too. I kind of just missed the train on in it in general. I thought, you know, professionals use Photoshop or whatever. So I was stuck in Photoshop for a long time. Recently, over the past year, like tried out using Clip Studio, and then I was like, I'm gonna take the dip into Paint Tool Sci, see if there's something there, which there is. Going good. Hope for you as well. Yes, it is going good for for the most part. We'll see how these drawings come out. is big. A lot of people prefer Scion. It's very lightweight. It used to be lightweight, but it's gotten heavier lately due to new features, but not bloatware level like Photoshop. Yeah, it opens up so fast, and it never chugs or anything. And even if you have a nice computer, both of those programs, Photoshop, Clip Studio, can chug pretty hard, even if you have all the right specs. It's just like you said, it's bloatware. It just screws up the program. Adobe's stupid subscription model is just such a ripoff. And honestly, it looks like Clip Studio wants to go that way too. So I want to be able to use other programs. And honestly, if it makes me better as an artist too, then that's even more awesome. We're gonna move on. Yeah, I know. It's so weird to have two different models like that when you're like one for the iPad, one for PC. It's so scummy. Don't want to support companies like that. All right. Um, all right. Hey, Akil, how's it going? I'm doing good. Um, just um, realizing how much I don't know about anatomy. Um, when you draw from imagination, it really shows the flaws in your knowledge, and it's just very you feel exposed almost. It's not fun, but it also, you know, makes you, or hopefully, when you get past the frustration, it makes you curious. Like I knew how to draw this really well, but this like I'm always sucking at the armpit area, so I'm like curious what should that look like? Okay, let's see these two are done. Okay, okay, battling a cold. I'm sorry to hear that for. Um, let's go to a new one. I choose this. This is hard. I think I imagined her. We'll try it. Um, could I recommend an awesome anatomy video? Sure, Drew. Go ahead. Um, I love learning new stuff, so I have like a gazillion resources, but it's always it's always good to learn more because honestly, there are a lot of resources out there, but there's really only a handful of truly good ones. Um, and then, I think everybody has a lot of really good things to say, but like finding those little excellent nuggets of wisdom, you'd have to consume so much content just to get to the gold pieces of information. Uh, I realize every time I look at Morpho books, yeah, yeah, Morpho, yeah, he knows his stuff. I actually just started studying those in my bed at night, like in my sketchbook. Um, and I felt like that helped me with the chest muscle because I actually drew out all this, the like, what is it when he draws it? It's like tucked in here, but he drew out like all the strands all tucked in like that to the shoulder if you can't see what's happening here. Because I'm terrible at drawing this. Okay, there we go. Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool seeing all the. This looks terrible, but I should really practice doing some like teaching stuff on here because it does help you learn. To not that I want to teach you guys terrible stuff. You guys okay with being guinea pigs for information? We'll learn together. This is challenging. Wow. Okay. Uh, Tell me about. I've been trying to draw hands for a while. The thing is so damn hard. Don't know if I'm improving or not, despite the effort. Mm. You're always improving, I feel like, unless you're like really learning something wrong, but your brain is picking up all this like subtle, tiny stuff when you study. Um, so generally, you can assume that you're always improving. Still would want to be careful again, but okay. Armpits, essentially knowing the muscles that connect on the arm that creates armpit energy, mainly the pecs and the latissimus. Yeah, I know in theory, like the the shoulder and the latissimus tucks in, right, and then the arm tucks in there. Just always looks wonky, you know. Uh, it's the horror of giving art advice. If you mess up, that will be imprinted on people seeing you as a source of knowledge. It's not that I give bad information um, because I have it. It's that what is the right word I'm looking for here? I will mess up in the sense that I will like trip over my words and get tongue tied because I think I know exactly what I need to say, but I find that I don't when it's actually time to speak. So it's more about me being able to communicate that information well and less about me not knowing the information. Like you can know a lot about anatomy and then not be able to draw it for shit. There's a lot of teachers out there that are like that, right? They can't draw, but they're good teachers. Um, but if you are able to combine that knowledge, um, so you can do like teaching drawings in a sense. So teach and draw and be able to use your drawings to teach. that will show you that you really know that information. Flashy, nice headphones. Thank you. They're deteriorating, so that's why the socks. A lot of people have asked. Yes, teaching is definitely its own skill. As is everything. Like there's things that cross over, but it's also its own skill. So too many people think that just because someone is good at drawing, they can also tutor. Yeah, I mean, just talking and drawing on stream has been challenging because, you know, you're trying to like multitask, but your brain doesn't actually multitask. It just switches quickly from one thing to the other. And, you know, while you're talking, your brain is just drawing on instinct. And if you're trying to draw and you're focusing on the drawing and not the talking, then your talking is going on instinct. And if you don't know what you're talking about, or you're just not familiar with talking about the subject, uh, then yeah, you're gonna have a lot of trouble. break. I can look at the questions and stuff too. Uh, oh, how to ask? Do you draw with your wrists or your shoulders? Um, Pretty much with my wrists. I mean, there is some shoulder movement, but you know, using this tablet, all my marks are coming out a lot bigger. If I was using a screen tablet, I'd probably use a lot more shoulder action. True artists draw with their torso. Yeah. I don't think I've ever drawn with my torso. Maybe when I was really a lot younger and didn't know how to draw. Mr. Fahrenheit can't stick around for long, but have a good stream. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Fahrenheit. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good day. Hello, Quackin. Good morning. We're only halfway through, so I'm glad you found us. Yeah, so when I was doing a lot of figure drawing, the like 18 by 24 paper, it's like the big, I don't have my board with me, but the big board that you use for figure drawing. Like I would use my shoulder for all of that for the gesture stuff. Now on the tablet, it's kind of a lot of tiny wrist movements and finger movements. Beyond Faye, I'm drawing with you right now. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys should. Hopefully, it encourages you to draw while we're on stream like this. That's cool. It's nice to have some company since this is very much a solo affair usually when you're drawing and working on projects and stuff. It's nice. Zoom in, you'll have more tablet to move your arm. Yes and no. So zooming in is going to take away some things from you. First of all, like when you, this might be, I've never talked about this, so this might be a little bit difficult to discuss, but when you zoom in, right, especially if, say you're drawing this figure that's there right now, right, if I zoom in and like try to make big nice marks and everything, those aren't going to translate well when you have like your finished product and you zoom back out. Your line weight's going to be all funky. I try to think of everything I do, even if I do it digitally, as if I was doing it traditionally a lot of the time, because no, like as a traditional artist, right? If you have a sketch that's this size, you can't zoom in to your sketchbook in real life and like try to make every line nice and big and loose. You have to learn to make those lines tiny. And if you could, which you can do on digital, it's going to mess up your drawing as you look at it as a whole, because you're sort of like separating it into tiny little pieces. It's really not the best explanation of why you do that. Hi, Ryozaki. How's it going? Yeah, zooming in for is right. Zooming in is really for refining and rendering stuff. Like when you get down to painting or you have a really detailed like finished line ink work and stuff that like it's ultra detailed, like you have some very special detail that you're doing, and that detail that you're doing is actually going to show up when you zoom back out. Because if like a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll paint a whole character, right, like a character design, and they'll zoom in really hard on the face and like make the eyes really perfectly rendered, and it's just like when you zoom back out you can't see all the work that you did on that eye because it's a whole figure. There's no point in detailing that eye. It makes no sense. You have to learn how to suggest those details in the eye so that when the viewer looks at it, they're seeing all those details in the eye, but they're not really there. just kind of making them up. When you do like a portrait, or if you were just doing like a composition of the eyes really close up, then you like go crazy with the details, because you're actually zoomed in. That is the whole piece. But when your whole piece is this, like zooming in is it's gonna hurt you more than it helps you. That's a fair consideration. I didn't mean zooming in 10 times though. The drawing fills your screen so you can use the whole tablet. That's a good point. Again, I think it's different kinds of practice. I get being able to draw a figure at different or anything at different sizes. It's just, especially the figure is more complicated than like a chair. Like you can draw a box at very different sizes. I can draw a very big box and a very tiny baby box. But when you're drawing the figure, when you draw bigger, you have to know generally more details. You have to draw bigger, like you said, Quacken, use your whole shoulder. So it's not just the knowledge that you have that changes of how to actually create the figure, but you're also physically using different parts of your body. So it's good to learn how to draw things at different sizes, because you have to know, like knowledge-wise and physically, how to actually draw things at different sizes. So it is good to practice both. I don't know why I typically don't draw figures. I think I'm trying to replicate what it's like if I were to draw this as a full figure, right? So typically if you're, oh shoot, we got 2 minutes left, I gotta keep standing. So when I'm drawing a figure, typically if you were to draw a figure, right, again, I'm trying to replicate like real world terms. So if I were to draw the whole figure and like zoom in so that it fits my entire screen, that's a big figure. Like if it put an actual piece of paper up on my screen, you would almost never draw a figure that big unless you were on 18 to 24 by 24 paper, right? So typically you would be using like A4 size paper. So they'd be about this size that I'm on screen, maybe a little bit bigger. So I'm trying to replicate something that I need to get used to drawing in this size. It's hard to explain. But it's essentially, I'm just training for being able to draw figures at this size. Drawing them bigger than this, I'm very rarely going to be doing that. In fact, I would argue that when you draw full figure characters like this, you're more likely going to be needing to suggesting detail and drawing them at this size than you are ever going to need to draw them much larger. So practicing it at this size is a good thing. But again, you're right. You should draw them very big figures and draw even super tiny figures too, because it'll help you learn how to suggest detail and how to really get, you know, big details when you draw super big. Theon, I did have a Discord server. God, this music was a little too lazy. Hang on. Let's try a different one. I did have a Discord, Theon, but I shut it down because I could not devote the time to it that I wanted. Unfortunately, so this is kind of a way for me to bring that community back. If I end up getting to do this full time, like I get enough money where I can quit my day job, then I might consider bringing that back and actually using it to you know, I don't know, get much more involved, like do contests and do, you know, exercises together with everybody and things like that. I think that'd be fun. But right now, I'll have to do it all through here. I think we're getting a good little community of people going. Do you not hear the music? It says it's capturing audio. Do you not hear the music for? How about now? Seriously? Oh, okay. Sometimes when I open up the Streamlabs OBS or whatever, it like goes to these auto um, devices that have no name. I don't understand why. But sorry, it's been silent this whole time. I hope you all put on your own music. But yeah, Fion, I hope maybe to get maybe Discord or find more ways to make the YouTube one even more like of an active community. I know Discord's easy because you can you know, everybody can share their artwork, but then there's also the problem. One of the reasons why I'd stopped using Discord too was at that time was when the AI stuff all started, and Discord had just released its new terms saying that it was going to use like training data to potentially make its own little AI stuff, and it was going to use your stuff that you upload to Discord to train its AI. So it's just like, I didn't want to support that, and I didn't want people coming into my channel and knowing that they were giving their hard work over to an AI system. You know, it's convenient for playing video games with my friends, but I don't want people getting their work stolen by a company. They always gotta find some friggin' way to ruin it. You're just my camera reminder now. I'm so sorry. Just doing my duty. That's some post rock. I don't know. I kind of just choose an artist on the art list, the thing I subscribe to for music for my videos. I wish there was an easier way to get music. this stuff. I saw that YouTube lets you use music too, like through some beta program or something that they have, so I have to check that out. I haven't had the opportunity yet. By the way, have you heard of Artwad? I've been wondering if it's any Gucci. I have not heard of this. I like the Roadmac drawings, those are cute, the little goblins. I mean, they've worked professionally and seems like there's some good artwork in here, so I imagine that it's worth trying. I know this guy, I think I follow this guy on Instagram, the founder. So you could always check out, you know, his Instagram stuff and see if that's helpful for you, and if you want more of that, you know, you can check out his actual courses. But I haven't heard anybody taking it or anything, but it seems, you know, similar to other classes that I've seen. Could be worth checking out, but I don't personally know. It does look solid. Select structural, try it out for a month and see them. Ooh, that could be a mistake. I am definitely an advocate for not starting a course or something like that until you have structure, because then it could potentially just be a giant waste of money. Buying a course will not give you structure. Really, it's just about the like that I have this as technically the topic of my next video, but like you're kind of thinking you need, well, this is not necessarily a topic of my next video, it's just it follows the same vein of truth, is that you get really kind of excited about the next thing, which is, you know, you see an art course that looks fun, and honestly most art courses do look fun, And then, you know, you may start it and look at a couple of videos for the day and maybe even do the first drawings, but that excitement weans off, right? Like the dopamine hit that you got when you're first excited about the class starts to be less and less until, you know, now you're back to the whole I lack structure type of thing, because now you're not doing the assignments for the course that you bought. Assuming that people lack structure and need accountability more than anything. Accountability is a good thing, but there's really, people will not really care about accountability because your brain kind of just falls back into old habits and stuff. You really have to come at it from the angle that you need to learn. It's a skill to show up for yourself and do the work, and you need to learn how to do that first, or you're not going to have a lot of success being accountable for yourself. So you could argue that those are kind of the same thing. Learning to be accountable for yourself is a skill. And you do that by showing up for yourself. Because if you can't do that, you're not going to do it for anything else. You'll do it for things that you can do on auto and like you don't enjoy, like going to work. Like, you'll hold yourself accountable for work because you can get in trouble, you know, or you won't have money to eat. But for doing art, it's those type of things won't work. And you don't want to turn into an art into a punishment either. Okay, hang on. Let me figure out this pose I was doing. All pretty fair point, to be fair. There's tons of free resources online. We have almost 2 decades of free stuff if you dig enough. That is true. I do think that the courses, you know, offer a way to condense all that, because there's a lot of bad. Arguably, there's so much information that there's more bad than good. So if you know that this person's a good resource, then if they can condense all the good information and you don't have to sort through the bad, that's awesome. That's an incredible resource. And one of the big things too is like, Ryuzaki, did it say if you got like feedback on your work? Because it's one of the big things that I think I would care about for a course like that. Because there's literally no replacement for good feedback, having a good teacher. you can give yourself feedback all day long, but you're not going to see things that, you know, someone more experienced will see. And that immediate fix to your work, not necessarily fix, but immediate ability to improve your work and to know what to do to improve it is super great. Yeah, no offense to the guy, but Drawbox is not something that I would recommend at all. A lot of people like to do it because, again, it is a simple, boring challenge, which requires little to no effort beyond just like doing the thing. Again, why it's so boring. And that's why people like it, because they don't have to think about creating a bunch of boxes in perspective. You could do this in your sleep, right? This is boring. I don't want to create 300 of these or however many makes you do. You have to actively engage your mind and fail and try things. Like I know that this anatomy is all fucked up, but like I am trying to do this from memory, and there's knowledge that I'm trying to pull from here and hoping that I get right, and then I'll go back and study and see where I screwed up. That is how you learn, by challenging yourself, and that the Drawbox stuff is not challenging, so this is why you don't learn. That's why everybody either quits that first like 200 something boxes, or worse, they finish it and they feel so proud, but then they actually try to draw something and they suck, and that's really discouraging. So why would you want to torture yourself like that? And Drew, yeah, you do need discipline, because all of those things fall under the same umbrella. Like Quacken said, like accountability, discipline, those are all falling under the same umbrella of just getting you to do the work. It's like eating dust. Oh man, y'all are funny. I'm sure there's a few people who come out of, you know, the Drawbox stuff with some success. I personally don't know any, but I'm sure there are some that feel that it helped them. I can promise you it helped them a lot less than they believe that it did. I read this when I was reading up on the books about learning and stuff. We're really poor judges of how well we're learning. They did this study about, if you guys know what, do you guys know what active recall is? I can explain it. It's basically a version of studying where you know, study your notes, like you read your notes, and then you put it aside and you try to recall that information. Typically, you want to combine that with spaced learning, because you need to forget a little, so you wait like 24 hours before you try to recall this information. And they had these students try to do two different ways of studying, where they would reread the material and where they would recall it. And by far, the students that practice recall performed much better than the students who were just rereading the material. But when they were surveyed about which one they thought helped learn them better, they all said that the rereading helped them better. And even after being shown how much better they were by doing the recall stuff, they still believed that the rereading helped them more, because it was more, until your brain finally starts to like give you the goods. So we're really poor judges of knowing what is a good way for us to learn. We think that we are learning really well when we're not. Kind of similar to how people who lack sleep literally don't realize how much of your cognitive ability is reduced when you are seriously lacking in sleep. You have no idea that how poorly you're performing. Yeah, I think it's very important to learn from a good teacher from the beginning. Bad drawing habits can be developed if you go to the wrong teacher, especially at the beginning. That is true. I definitely had one or two bad teachers. And that is hard. It sucks to relearn information knowing that you had somebody teach you poorly, but typically, you know, you're not going to get too many bad teachers. And you can always, if you're unsure about something, you can go on and see if people are studying the way that you are. I think there's a lot of misconceptions in our industry, especially about what, like I was just saying, we're really poor judges of how we learn, and we've just been doing the same stuff. This is part of why I wanted to come in and help teach people. We've been doing the same kind of stuff forever. Like anybody who tells you to study, they're like, you know, like everybody who's doing Drawbox or something, they're like, do master studies, do this, do that, and I'm just like, those are what we've always done, and no one's ever really challenged the way of how we learn, especially in art. And I think that's why there's so many of us that fail. That's why I talk about the importance of, like Miyazaki saying, you need to make sure you have discipline and accountability before you start the courses. Like that shit is so important, and we don't talk about it, like, ever in art courses. And I never talked about that in art school. Nobody ever showed me how to make a habit or do anything like that. Those are tools that you need to be successful, and there are tools for learning better and more efficiently, and we just don't teach those. We just say, go draw this stuff. I'd be the evil problematic teacher and tell my students to shave with me. Oh my god. Get out of here. Gonna ruin all the good kids. Miyazaki. Or 4, excuse me. Miyazaki, exactly. After the box challenge, I went back to just try and copy stuff that I liked and worked on the discipline. I believe it on Atomic Habits helped like hell. Yeah, read that book. That book is so good. I think there are a lot of pieces, you know, that it doesn't touch on, especially for artists with mental health and all the like resistance stuff that happens. That's why I'm writing my own book with elements of that in there. But you know, there's a lot of pieces that need addressing. Okay, can I just think? Usually people think drawing fruit bowls is a boring assignment, but it's way more interesting than just a box. True. I don't think you have to draw fruit bowls or anything, but it is definitely better than drawing a box. And drawing boxes is not a bad thing either, by the way. It's just that you don't want to stay there forever, you know? You can draw a couple boxes just to get a simple understanding of each type of perspective, and then you're done. Like, then go put it into practice. And you can still draw boxes as you're trying to figure out how things work. You know, you can draw a box for each little item that you're trying to understand. Like put a cup inside a box, put a computer inside a box, put a pen inside your box. You can still do that. But you need to put it into practice rather than draw a shit ton of boxes and hope that that will somehow like bring you more understanding of perspective and how things work. No, my Duyan? I'm sorry, I don't if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Time is 10:11 a.m. It's Pacific time. California time. Stuff everyone needs but is never taught. Exactly, Quacken. Remember going through school super easy, but I never learned to study, so I went to university back then. I struggled with, so I just couldn't raw intellect my way through anymore. Yeah, exactly. There's so many like key aspects of things I feel like we're not taught, and I almost feel like it's on purpose. And in some cases, I do believe it's on purpose. Like the reason they don't teach us about, you know, how to manage your finances, because they don't want you to be financially fluent. They want you to rely on banking systems and loans and things like that. They want you to be dumb. I think with art, it's just, again, we have a system that has been in place, and we use that system, use and abuse it. No one has ever challenged it before, and really looked at like how we study and said like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. We just assume it works because, you know, people get good eventually, but like, is this actually helping you? Are there diminishing returns from doing this exercise over and over again? You know, like I used to do a ton of master studies, right? And then, you know, I started thinking about it logically. am I really getting a lot out of this? Because you see people do master studies and then they can't draw anything themselves, even though their master study is like is like a masterpiece, right? And you're just like, where is that disconnect? Why am I studying and not able to, like, my studies look amazing and everything else looks like garbage when I try to draw it myself. Um, that's just been a hard lesson for me, being big on studying and not drawing a lot for myself. I plan to change that and then help other people do the same. It's pretty good. I have time for one more, I think. Try, at least. Scribble Mouse, so hey, same here. Funny enough, I taught kids how to do homework. Really good at figuring out what kids need. Not figure it out for myself. That's funny. Yeah, it's funny. You're kind of blind to like what you need to do, but you can help others do things. It's like when people say, do what I say, not what I do. You figure it out for them, but you're like blind to your own struggles. That happens with artwork too. Like you can see other people, like the mistakes they make in the drawings, but you yourself are like blind to your own mistakes. And you can make the exact same mistakes too. You're just blind. It's kind of frustrating. And if you're curious why I'm only drawing females, because the next figure that I have to do for personal work is a female. I'm doing a full figure painting, so I figured I'd practice female figures. Personal drawabouts really help me get a grasp of forms of perspective, making really correct boxes. Yeah, again, I don't think like there is going to be some people that actually benefit from that. Again, there are more efficient ways to learn, but not everything is about efficiency. Sometimes you're just trying to get comfortable with something before you move on to the next step. And you take what you can get. This is a little complicated. Let's see, where should we? Show you what you like, right? You're doing great. Thank you, Duan. Duan. God, I wish I could pronounce that name. I'm very sorry. I'll we're gonna look up how to pronounce that. Oh, wow, Miyazaki. I guess I missed that. I'm sorry. No. Yeah, for sure. The photorealism thing for definitely. It's about seeing and copying, not analyzing or designing. It's a very different skill set. People who draw from their imagination are designing, typically. Not that they're always good designers, but you're designing when you draw from imagination. And photorealism is about observing and copying. That's why even when you do studies like this, like I'm trying to design, like if I drew the muscle the way that it is here, it's just super boring. So I'm trying to design it as I draw it. If you were, at an atelier school or something, they do not do that. They just draw what they see. which again is a skill that is useful to have even as a designer. Helps you get started for sure. You can call me Urine? Urine. Urine. Do I have like a little accent on that, like urine? Is that how you pronounce that? Um, there's a lot of times where I know what the problem I'm trying is, I just don't have the solution to it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that happens a lot. And that's, yeah, like Quacken said, that is a good situation to be in. And even if someone doesn't have the answer, you now have the question to ask, even if it's like through an art book or something, because now you can be like, okay, how do I solve this? This needs to be brought up. I'm just gonna do that manually real quick. Sorry. Normally we don't use lasso. We must today. I don't have enough time. But yeah, you know the question that you're searching for now. So you're like, that's where you can start getting really inquisitive. Like, how do I solve this? And then you start doing drawings, you look in art books through multiple sources, and you find the answer to what you're looking for. And then you'll find, that you find the answer, but then you have to draw from a different angle, and you're like, ah, crap. Now I don't know it again. And that's sort of how you build like robust knowledge. You keep realizing what you don't know and keep trying to solve it. The fun part about art, it's like a giant puzzle. You're always trying to figure out how the pieces go together. and then in our case, how to design them even better. So your videos are sick, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Quack in my question about archery right now is what the fuck do I actually want to make? That is a hard question. I don't know if my next video will answer that, but it's definitely in the same vein as well. I think you definitely need to find things that you're interested in, even if it's fan art at first. You just have to make a decision. And fan art's great just because if you're trying to learn something like anatomy, right? All the designs are kind of built into fan art, so you don't have to worry about designing so much. You can focus on learning whatever pieces you need to learn. Thank you so much. Your live stream inspired me to draw again. That's good. Okay. Good luck with your drawings. Uh, Give me 1 second, guys, and I'll go through some of the questions before we head out here. I'm gonna have to draw it tiny. So I only have less than 5 minutes left, so I have to draw on time. So let's pretend. We're gonna change the pose. Uh, okay, done with that. Yeah, keel definitely. You can start with any part of the body that you want. It feels really cool also to start with like the pelvis and then build a figure. It makes you feel like you have superpowers. I've done that like a couple of times. It definitely helps your understanding of the figure too. If you can draw them, like if you just draw the pelvis and legs, and you are able to like continue the figure from there. A lot of people start with the head and then they sort of measure that with the whole figure, but if you do the reverse, it's actually a little bit of a challenge. So it's good to be able to understand how to do that. Hi, Lucky. We're just about to end here. I'm sorry. I'll be back tomorrow. These first few ones again. I'd say this last one here is probably the most successful. Very interesting. Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, sorry. I hope you join us for a different one. Scribble Mouse, you're saying would help you learn how to correct your pictures watching some correction videos, streams. I could recognize mistakes I made too. That can help. Obviously, you're really hoping for a fix to whatever mistake you made, so that's not always possible, or like it could be if you're a beginner, I'm sure that'd be really helpful, but diminishing returns as you get better, because I'm needing very specific help to all the specific problems you're having, but not a bad way to get some help. Fatumi is looking great, thank you. We did our best here. I think I'm definitely, again, hitting the wall of learning that there's a lot of anatomy I need to learn. So we're definitely going to be hustling on that anatomy journey for the rest of the figures that I have to do, changing up the body shape, and I've got like a muscly dude and like a taller and shorter female and a skinny dude, so we're gonna get different body shapes in there and learn anatomy and the muscles. And envy artists who use drawing tools other than Procreate. I've used Procreate. I have it on my iPad, but yeah, with Procreate, definitely gotta be careful because a lot of people don't turn off that the line correction stuff, and it really can confuse you at how good you are with making lines if software is always making them smoother and nicer. You gotta understand how your own lines are working. Procreate is really good so far. I just feel like I don't know it as well. I need to learn more about it so I can get more accuracy with certain things. But it is a very good program, and so far they've been very good to artists just in general, so I like supporting them. Love the flow. Thank you, Fatumi. Tried here. It's pretty successful, I would say. For me, at least. I feel like it was designed, the figure was designed well. It looks a little odd in its turn, but you know, probably could have made that arm straighter and that might have made it feel a little bit better. I really cannot draw in Procreate as I'm drawing in Syrup, no matter how much you tinker with the settings, but it is a good program. Glad there's an affordable art program for iPad users. Yeah, me too. I've made Procreate work for me. Um, I don't know, maybe it's because I've drawn on a lot of different stuff that it doesn't bother me so much. I don't use any like, I'm not sure for you mean like the feeling of the pencil on the thing or just like the sensitivity controls. It could be also that, like I was saying, you have the line correction software stuff on, and depending on the brushes that you use, they're on automatically. So you gotta turn that stuff off. It makes your lines feel weird. It's not organic. It's fixing your lines for you. You know, I was influenced by your website and made one myself because of you. Oh, that's awesome, Lucky. I would ask you what your website is, but you can't put links in here. If you send it to me on Instagram, or something, I'd be happy to take a look. You can message me. Very finicky when it comes to pen pressure, and Procreate pressure curve behaves differently than Clip Photoshop. Oh my god. When I first joined Clip Studio, the pen pressure drove me absolutely bonkers. And then I finally figured out how to fix it. But I do absolutely know what you're saying. Clip Studio drove me nuts until I figured out that you could actually turn the pressure sensitivity into a curve. So I get that. No, stabilization is not good. Whack. I mean, if you're doing work, you know, and you just want to get that, you want to get something out there, sure, go right ahead. But in terms of learning, stabilization will screw you up so badly, because you're going to have a horrible impression of how you actually draw. And it honestly, it's super discouraging. I've used Clip for so long that I've forgotten how dull the default setting is. Yeah, it's real bad. I remember I was super, it was like weeks of trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And I finally fixed it. And then it was like a miracle. Yeah, if you use Procreate without stabilization the whole time, like you're gonna be confusing yourself as to how good your lines are, right? You have to learn that yourself. It's a feel. A lot of drawing comes down to feeling, like feeling out proportion. You can't measure these things or make them super, they're not equations, you know. Otherwise it doesn't feel organic. You mean like a small amount to get rid of the micro movements more than anything? Yeah, but the micro movements is what gives your work personality. Whenever I see people doing like environment artwork and they do this to all of their shit, and they're like, you know, they're drawing a house and it's all lines like this. This is so static and stupid. I would rather love, even if it looks like ass at first, like I would so much rather see some house that looks like this than this straight nonsense. There's no personality. You're just the same as literally everybody else who uses a straight line or the stabilization curves or whatever. Those little micro movements are you. That's you in there. So you're just deleting yourself from the equation. If you look at any good artists, like that Drawing with Houses book that I have with Yoshida Seiji, he doesn't use lines like that, and his drawings have so much personality in them because there's all these little like micro movements. The lines aren't perfect, the perspective is not 100% perfect. There's flaws. Flaws is what what makes it look cool. It sounds weird, but like there's the personality in there is because of those micro movements, because of those little flaws. And sometimes, you know, those flaws turn into really unique, what do we call them? Happy accidents. You don't get those when you have a computer to do those things for you. So I would turn that off entirely. If you want it on, like, if that's your choice. But I'm telling you, it's not a good thing. Yeah, it's bad for your hand because especially if you move to any other program. No stabilizer can cause issues? How so? Bless you. I mean, there may be people who have, like, this would be entirely an exception, but there are people who can't, like, they shake, right? So maybe you'd want some stabilizer for that. But again, stabilizer is going to ruin the feeling that you have. Like, if you're using stabilizer on digital drawings, like, good luck trying to draw in a sketchbook. It's gonna feel really weird. Again, a lot of this stuff comes down to feeling, and if you're not feeling it out correctly because something is fixing your lines for you, you're going to get the wrong feeling out of it. You have zero stabilizing will tense up parts of your body and help stabilize. Remember, I had pain from that when I did traditional art. Well, I mean, isn't that just a problem with you trying to stabilize your body in a weird way? You can be very loose and still draw, like, fluidly and straight, or make straight lines and make fluid lines. Like, these are all big, I understand, but, you know, I have to disagree with you therefore. I think that's just you're trying to, like, subconsciously do things that you don't need to do. You don't need to stabilize your body. Can't wait to retire and draw all day. I don't think about work. It's hard to make a living just by drawing. Should be done to start drawing as a career. Oh man, that's a big question, Lucky. Ask me that tomorrow. Sorry, we're at the end. That'll be a big question to answer, but ask me that tomorrow if you show up. I'll be happy to answer that. But that's going to require more time to talk about. Yeah, and I would agree with 4 there. I'm not going into this thinking it's going to be a big financially secure career. Like, I do it because I enjoy it. But there are ways that you can make the scales tilt in your favor so that you can actually turn it into a business. Learning the business of art is a separate skill from doing art. And a lot of people like to think it's the same, where if you're good at art, you can sell it. Like, no, there are things that you need to know about, like marketing and sales and just drawing interest and things like that. So it's a whole separate skill. Alright guys, that is going to be it for today. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you all tomorrow. There's going to also, if you saw the stream schedule, there's going to be one Saturday this time. Just going to try to see if a different time or more on the weekend. Just want to try out different times and days, see if people have more free time or whatever. I don't want to feel like anybody's missing out. Bye, Akil. Thanks for showing up, Quacken and 4. Yeah, same time. It'll just be Saturday. Kelsey Rodriguez has had many videos on making money as an artist. Yeah, she does. I think she's done pretty successfully for herself as well, so you could check her out. But yeah, there's a bunch of artists that do well business-wise, and there are YouTube videos about it. I'm sure people can teach you. I'm not at the place where I want to, or that I even make money for my own art, so it's not really my place to talk about it at the moment. We'll get there as well. Bye, Yurin. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, guys. I'll catch you all later.